Ṣẹ̀kẹ̀rẹ̀ lọ bá jó, ṣẹ̀kẹ̀rẹ̀ lọ bá jó, olúwa mi ò dìde ojó ṣẹ̀kẹ̀rẹ̀.
Because here's a question I would say. I would, and I wish Stephen was here to talk. He's not in chat. I wish he was. Because my question would be, what benefit? PvP is needed. We know that. We need that for nodes. We need that for transitions of power, changes within the setting. We know that. But all of those instances where we have world change, they are all in specific controlled environments, right? Node sieges, sieging of a metropolis, caravan sieges. They're all, guild, the guild, what's it called? The guild siege, castle sieges. Those are all specific instances of PvP, and that is specifically where world change occurs. So why is there a need to have open PvP throughout the world? Me out gathering wood for my fire, having a battle with someone else that's just out there trying to kill some bears, how does that change the world? How does that PvP have anything to do with world change that they're trying to get to? And I see your wheels turning, but let me finish. The only argument I can come up with is, okay, if we're trying to level a node and I'm out trying to do something, then okay, maybe that 10 points of experience that I give to the node is interrupted by someone ganking me. But that is the only instance where I can see that. And does that really matter on a 1,000-player server? That would be my question, is what does having open world PvP actually contribute to world change? Because world change is where we need PvP here. And that's what they will always say. And it makes sense. That's what EverQuest Next was trying to get to. When you're trying to get away from a completely developer-driven narrative that you got to wait 6 months for a new patch. I mean, this is the only way you can really do that. You have to leave it up to the players. But the specific instances, the specific examples we have of world change occurring already occur in specific encounters. So what does open world PvP actually add to that world change narrative? That would be my question. I would love to hear a response from him.
So anything that you do within the node is going to generate experience. So it doesn't really matter whether you're doing, in that sense, PvE stuff or PvP stuff. But I guess where it will have an impact, and you might say that I'm trying to kill this person because I want to prevent them from gathering enough resources required to build buildings and actively build the node rather than passively build the node. That's a possibility, and we have to see how significant that is. But I think in some people's minds, some PvPers' minds, that's the excuse for them to go gank somebody who's just gathering stuff, is they want to prevent them from gathering the resources that the node is specifically asking for in order to build up. Let's say they're working on building a library or whatever. If you take away their resources, the resources necessary to build that building, that does slow the progress.
I need that. To me, that's a very flimsy answer. Again, we need to test it all. I mean, who knows?
We certainly need to test it all. I'm in agreement with you there.
But if you have 100 people of a node out doing various things, and you have someone going to pick off one person at a time, again, what does that actually change?
They aren't necessarily picking off one person at a time. People will be going out trying to prevent buildings from being built and stuff like that. So it's not just a one
Because-
versus one scenario.
You know, I need
it
to.
happening on a smaller scale and a larger scale, but I think it's something where it depends on how many people are actually needed to complete all these various tasks and interactions. If it's something where it's hundreds of people participating for hundreds of hours to get these things done, then one person being ganked once or twice, or a small gank squad sweeping through the area for an hour, probably isn't going to have that much of a significant world-changing effect. I would hope that there's maybe other systems in place. For example, whatever node they're a citizen from and whatever node you're a citizen of, their kind of disrespect meter keeps on growing. So there's another sort of level of animosity that's just built in with the interactions and NPC relations that just builds up because the people are at each other's throats. I'm not sure how you would resolve that. I think just trading with people and safely going back and forth across the border between cities or something could be a way that it reduces that. But if two places are specifically in conflict, I don't really think that's necessarily something that you would expect to happen, is that it would somehow de-escalate, unless somewhere higher up in the hierarchy, like they're both vassals of the same lord, comes down from on high and says, "Yo, you got to stop fighting. I need this part of the border secure. Stop being jerks to each other." And then that could be some form of a de-escalation. But even if not something like that, I would like to see something where there's some incremental gain and loss that is happening from these sorts of actions, even if it isn't necessarily felt in the immediate or immediately recognizable to the players that has happened or could be happening.
And at some point you move into the caravan level, where the real impact is going to be from caravans moving resources.
And maybe that's where it should be, because
right, and in that sense, it's going to be without corruption in anyway.
Because growing corn means nothing if it doesn't get to where it needs to go, right?
Right.
And more importantly, there's a difference if it's you out trying to get wood to do something with your farm on your freehold, rather than actively trying to actually work on the library. Maybe you aren't doing stuff so that you can help build up the...
Me as a PvE player, and I again think a lot of PvE players would think similarly to me, is I need a good reason for why this has to occur as far as open PvP, because this is pretty damn harsh death penalty when you compare it to other modern MMOs. When you compare it even to like EverQuest, right? It's EverQuest. Yes, you have an experience debt. You have to go. Well, they were more harsh. You have to go get your body, otherwise you lose everything. But we're talking about resource loss, experience debt, durability hits, stat losses. This is a pretty severe death penalty by comparison. And so, again, in my head, I start thinking, okay, well, what can we compare that to in the past to get a sense of what might happen in the future? And one thing that comes out in mind is, EverQuest wasn't the first MMO. Ultima Online was their first, which was a, very much PvP gank fest. So why did one thrive and the other didn't? In my opinion, it's because the EverQuest did have limits on PvP and death penalties and things where you didn't lose. And so it became a much more attractive game to play, because the thousands of hours you spent couldn't be suddenly lost because you had an unfortunate encounter with a very pissed off 12-year-old.
Well, and the way I say it is, I don't want some other player deciding for me how I have to play and force me into playing in some manner that I'm not interested in playing in.
I'm okay with the stuff that is listed there. Again, I think that will change over time, but if it didn't, I would be okay with that if I had a good sense for why that had to occur. Like that even in death, I'm still contributing. Like that the death wasn't just merely to frustrate me.
Well, even for because I'm a smart enough player that I do know how to avoid NPCs and mobs from killing me, and I know where to go so that I'm off of their paths, and I know how to keep my back to a wall so that mobs and NPCs aren't jumping me. I can't really do that with other players. So another player coming to me and deciding through experience debt that it's going to take me another hour of gameplay to hit my goals, that's a problem for me. And so thankfully, hopefully, right? I mean, where I enjoy PvP is like if I am defending a town, and I might like to do that for maybe an hour. But after doing that for an hour, I want to be able to go someplace where I know I'm not gonna experience PvP. So yeah, it would be better if I could knowingly leave a node siege or a castle siege and go out and farm for 2 hours after spending 1 hour doing PvP, if I have to be on a server where PvP exists.
Just